Another Battleborn character preview. Today we've got Phoebe. At least that's how I'm pretty sure we say it. That's how I think Randy said it. So I will go with Phoebe. Phoebe's bio, counted among the LLC's greatest engineers. Phoebe Elizabeth Audelia Hemsworth IV. Fancy name. Utilizes powerful technology to move swiftly about the battlefield, and an array of 5 telekinetically suspended swords to annihilate her foes. So she is another melee character, a fencer of sorts with magical telekinetic rapiers, which is pretty sweet. You can see the stats above. She has massive damage output, limited range, obviously, as a melee, fairly squishy for health, and good movement speed. So down to her abilities. Her attacks, the 5 virtues. Phoebe's primary attack chains multiple melee range saber strikes. So I think when you do that, you're hitting with all 5 blades. And I'm assuming her just basic melee attack is one of the more powerful just basic attacks of the game because you're hitting with 5 swords. Her secondary attack launches her in a direction dodging incoming attacks. That, I think, is what's going to make her an interesting melee character, the ability to do that. In Borderlands 2, when you would go after an enemy, you kind of melee, move to the left or right, melee, move to the left or right, where you're kind of circling and hitting them, strafing around them in a circle and striking them. With this, she's got that built into her attack structure. But it also will make her harder to hit by guns as you're shooting at her and she's dodging around. That will probably augment her movement ability a lot more than just moving around with WSD or joystick. Next, you have her Technocracy. Phoebe's high-tech, form-aware, and telekinetic sabers can be augmented to substantially increase her survivability and lethality. I don't even know why I read these anymore. They're so vague. It's the Helix Tree is going to make things better. That means almost all the time. Next, Phase Gate. After a brief charging period, which is probably about a second, Phoebe teleports to a target location. This is going to make her even harder to lock down and hit. So she can dodge, and then she phases in, maybe behind you, and attacks you. Yeah, she's definitely going to be a slippery one. Once again, I think 0 players might really dig her. Then you have Blade Rush. Phoebe launches a barrage of 4 charged rapiers, each dealing 50 to 70 damage. And you drink more coffee. Yeah, so this one, when you add that up, it's around that 200 to 280 damage that most of these attacks in the slot do. Sorry, I should highlight that. So, yeah, sounds decent. It gives her some range. Not tremendous range with that, but you have an attack that has some range, so that's helpful. And then you have Blade Cascade. Conjures a storm of falling rapiers, dealing 505 to 730 damage over a large area. Sorry about that. I had a bit of a sneeze built up. Yeah, so this seems really interesting as well. Good damage, good area. Just how much damage does each enemy hit while they're in that area? That'll be the question. But graphically, I've seen that in some videos, and it looks absolutely amazing. Then you have True Strike. Phoebe swipes at enemies and activates her high-tech formal wear to propel herself in any direction. So, I wonder if this means while you do her secondary attack, you still get a melee attack with it. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry, I should highlight that again. So we'll kind of see in some videos and gameplay coming up how that actually works. But if you can hit while you dodge, that makes her even better. Next, we're moving on to her Helix Tree after a sip of coffee here. This coffee is delicious. Aggressive advance. Exiting phase gate grants increased movement speed for a short time, so 30% movement speed when you get out of phase gate. That sounds very good, because you're going to want to phase, maybe hit them with a blade rush, and then go in and finish them off. Or just phase gate and then get into melee range. Preparation. Enemies hit by blade rush will be stunned by the last strike of Phoebe's primary melee combo. So stunning enemies anytime when you're a melee character is absolutely huge. So this one might come in better. Both these sound really good, and I'm not sure which one's going to work better, which fortunately you're going to hear all the way down this tree, so I'm warning you now. I'm really kind of perplexed by her Helix Tree, and really don't know how I would spec it. Although I was about half and half on a lot of them. Her, I'm just almost 100%, I don't know. So Tier 2, Gatecrasher. This is kind of like Zero's Unforeseen. When you phase gate, you get an electrical storm at the destination. 160 damage isn't bad for that. So that sounds good. No complaints there. Or phase distortion, which I like a little bit more in this one. Phase gate creates a field at the target destination that slows enemies for 6 seconds. I don't know how big that field's going to be, but a 6-second slowdown on enemies is once again really huge when you're a melee character, and gives her little team utility. Shield stabilizers increases maximum shield strength 195. This might be pretty tempting because I think she's got a lot of raw power, but she doesn't have a lot of survivability. So it might be hard to pass up on those skills, but her agility might keep her alive. Sharpened blades. Phoebe's primary melee attacks deal increased damage at 18%. So maybe just a massive damage plus her teleporting and dodging is enough to keep her alive, and the faster you kill, the faster you live. Unintended innovation. Blade Rush blades explode on contact, damaging nearby enemies. An extra 12% bonus damage. Sounds very good. Rapio. I don't know if I said that right. When Blade Rush hits an enemy, the skill's cooldown is reduced. Increased effect on enemy Battleborn. If you hit Battleborn, it's 1.5 seconds per hit, minions 1 second. I like this quite a bit. So if you hit minions, that's 4 seconds off. If you hit all 4 on Battleborn, that's 6 seconds. But that barrage, I don't know if each one can hit multiple times too. But either like 4 or 6 seconds off a cooldown, and I'm guessing these cooldowns are, I don't know what they exactly are. Those numbers are going to change and stuff. It might be different per skill, but let's say it's 20 seconds. Taking 6 seconds off that's pretty significant. Even 4 seconds is very helpful. So on this tier, I think I would lean towards the cooldown. Pasata Soto. Landing a hit with True Strike increases Phoebe's defense for a short time, giving her 30% damage reduction. Once again, she is fairly squishy from what I can tell, so that seems like a very good idea. Or Reprise. Phoebe attacks a second time after landing a hit with True Strike. So I'm not 100% sure how True Strike works, but if I'm reading it right, this means as you dodge, you can strike twice and hit an enemy, and then you would do your normal primary attack for another 5 hits of your rapiers, and then True Strike for another 2, which sounds pretty awesome. So once again, do you need the help surviving or not? Does your team have a good nurse or a good support character? It'll depend. Phase Gate V2 or version 2. Reduces the cooldown by 20%. That sounds amazing. Simple but great. Disruptor Blades. A portion of Blade Rush's damage bypasses enemy shields for 60% shield penetration. So here's another tough one. It's hard to pass up cooldown. I think she only has 2 cooldown skills. One for Blade Rush, one for Phase Gate, and you want to be able to... Phase Gate I think you're going to want to use a lot. But shield penetration is what it is. That's very good, and 60% is also very good. But that's only on Blade Rush. It's not on her normal melee attacks, so I think I would lean towards cooldown there. Efficient Resonator. Increases shield recharge rate, plus 105. Or Flurry increases primary melee attack speed. So this is another one, like, do you need that survival? The DPS sounds pretty good there. It's tough to say. Scientific Method. Substantially increases Phase Gate's casting range, which again sounds good. I'm not sure what the range is exactly right now, but the longer you can Phase Gate, the faster you can ambush enemies. But if you get out there too far, you might kind of get out of your team support area and you might be on your own, and that could be dangerous too. Phase Stability. Increases the effect of all buffs imparted by Phase Gate. This one I'm a little confused by. Would that just really reply to something like this where you get the movement speed or the stun on enemies? Well, I guess, yeah, you could do this and Gatecrasher. So if it's all the stuff from the Helix Tree, that sounds pretty good. Because there are a few of those. At least 2 tiers of those. Maybe just the 2. Well, if that includes the cooldown as well. I don't know. That will take some looking at when the game comes out. Because if it affects all 3 of those, yes. If it affects the other 2, still good. So this tier is one of her more interesting ones. So Conduit is kind of like an amp shield. You do a portion of your shield. I believe it comes off of your shield and turns into damage. Or a refined technique. The longer the Blade Rush rapiers travel, the more damage they do. So either way, you're increasing the Blade Rush, but it's how do you increase that damage? Off of your shield or if distance? So, yeah, I don't know. I think Conduit may have more damage potential, but it also, risk versus reward. That's going to turn you into a big glass cannon. Refined technique makes sense because Blade Rush is her only kind of range. You're probably going to be using that when you're further away. So it's going to depend on playstyle and all that. It's kind of an interesting tier. We'll see how it plays out. And then finally you have her capstones. Calamitious Cascade. Enemies struck by Blade Cascade suffer increased damage from all sources for a short time, plus 16% damage amplification. If all sources means what I think it means, and that's including your allies, that's really cool. In fact, that's the first kind of just enemy damage debuff I think I've seen in all of these, which gives her a big team utility. And if you communicate with your team really well, and they have their ultimates ready on top of that, you should be able to absolutely destroy people. The ultimates, from what I've seen, have like a 40-50 second cooldown, so it would take some communication for that, but damn, that sounds good. And then you have Sword Storm, increases Blade Cascade's area of effect. Moving through the area grants a temporary boost in movement speed by 30%, which also can be helpful, but that damage amplification might be hard to pass up. That's quite a bit. I mean, it's only 16%, but this is PvP. It's not like Borderlands where it's PvE and you can get these crazy, percentages. This has to be a little more controlled for balance. But like I said, if you have your ultimate's kind of stacked up, man, you can tear those guys down pretty quick. Because like I said, that's not just your damage, that's your entire team's damage. So, I like her, but her Helix Tree excites me less than just her basic skills, which is weird. Some of the other characters, their basic skills are, alright, that's what they are. Their Helix Tree makes them exciting. Her Helix Tree doesn't really seem to change how she plays as much as the other ones. They just kind of just buffs her. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe I'm just tired and grumpy. I don't know. It doesn't mean I'm not excited about her. I think just her basic attack and abilities are good enough to intrigue me. But her Helix Tree is probably the least exciting I've seen so far. But let me know what you guys think. I think Zero players might absolutely love her. Gearbox has definitely shown they know how to make good FPS melee characters. And hopefully she continues in that tradition. So, once again, thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed yet, please do that because I appreciate that. And I will see everyone later. Thanks for watching. Bye.